Specific tutorial for our workflow here on how we reconcile song lyrics that the worship leader has prepared. So I have the order of worship prepared in ProPresenter for the traditional service and the modern service, but there is a song missing down here. So if you look at this Honey in the Rock, it has this icon. It's a placeholder. So if you click on it and you see it jumps to that section, you can see there's no lyrics there. Also, if you look up here, you'll see during Christmas we had done a different color scheme for our lower thirds, the red and green, and so that song still has the wrong color scheme. So this is the basic checklist, assuming that the service is more or less put together. This is how you just import the lyrics to double check. So we're going to go to Finder on the computer. You're going to go to OneDrive. You're going to go to ProPresenter Sharing, Lyrics, and then Charles will have created the lyrics with the date. So January 28th is this coming Sunday, and you just double click it. This is super important. In order to make sure we're not creating a bunch of duplicate copies, I trust that Charles has created these lyrics correctly, and I need to overwrite anything I have that matches. Now, his document is just song lyrics. It's not any other document, so I'm not worried about it overwriting, say, the mission and vision graphics or any of those things. And again, since we're using gradient color fills, it doesn't matter anything about images that need to be imported. So we're going to import this to the English Song Bank. There is a Spanish blended song bank, but I only do that bank for songs that we're doing bilingually. So English Song Bank, click OK, and then this is very, very important. File already exists, so it's saying the Battle Belongs song already exists, and we can write over it. We can create a new version, which will basically create a Battle Belongs -1 song, and we really don't want that, because then what happens is when you go to create the slides, you're like, which song is right? So we're always going to write over. You can also click use existing, which means what it'll do is it'll ignore the document that's coming in favor of the one that's already on the hard drive. So what we want is we want to write over, but most importantly, go ahead and click this apply to all before you click write over. That way it'll just do it all at once. So click write over, and it imports all the songs. And what it does is you can see this January 28th song playlist is just the songs, including the correct arrangement. So this one says P&W 52, which means Praise and Worship 52. This says 2020. This says RH, which is Our Great Redeemer's Praise Hymnal, so on and so forth, all these. And then we just need to double check, because some of the songs are a little out of date on Charles's computer as far as formatting goes. We need to check a few things. So you can see, for instance, this very first slide has this yellow exclamation point and this little paintbrush icon, because we used to use the backgrounds, and now that we're doing lower thirds and transparent, we don't need that. So right click on the very first slide and just click this remove action button, and now there's nothing. But then we're doing a hybrid lyric solution where both lower thirds and full screen versions of the lyrics are able to be run at the same time. So we're going to drag this change screens for hybrid lyrics to the very first blank background. And just to show you what that does is I click this, and you see this is black, this is the stage display, and this shows a color gradient. And then when I go to the song, you can see there's the lower thirds and there's the full screen version. Same lyrics, but with a slightly different format. This is a little bit bigger font, and it's centered, and it's obviously centered both vertically, horizontally, and has a background behind it. So that song is done. And then the last song is Healer, and default is right and default is correct, but there's no leading blank. So we need to check if it's in the arrangement, just not used. Nope, it's not in there. So here's the easiest way to add the blanks. I always do it at the end. Right click, copy, right click, paste. If I just do a quick edit and then delete all the text and then close it, I now have a blank. And then you right click on it and you go to group, and the first, I need two. One says background, and then I'm going to go copy, paste. And the reason why I do a separate one from background and blank is a blank would be in the middle of a song. For instance, if there was an instrumental break, but I also use it as the very last slide. So the other thing you can do is we need to fix the arrangement. So we're going to drag the background all the way to the first slide, and then the blank is at the end. And it's not a big deal, but if you go to the master, I also like to drag the background to be the first slide in here. So there you go. So now we have the entire song with the background, and then we just need to add our macro. I like to look for hangout, single word hangout. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this is like your choice of screens you can show in this window. So I'm going to go to full screen, and then you can see it's every time I feel the spirit. So I really don't like it when it does that. So I'm going to go down here, and I'm going to use the reflow tool, and I'm going to try to fix those things. So so it was this, the spirit. So basically this, imagine there's a vertical line here, and what you want to do is click this, go backspace, and go option space. And now if I, just for example, I'm going to go out and I'm going to fire this slide again. What it does is it puts a non-breaking space between the word the and the word spirit, forcing those two words to always be on the same page without a line break. So there's a bunch of those in here. So the quick and dirty way is just basically between the last two words on every line, just do that. So option space. The other thing to do is the reflow editor is based on the arrangement, so the chorus is going to show up twice, so I don't have to do the second chorus. So see, it says chorus 1 there and chorus 1 there. I don't have to edit the second occurrence of the chorus, and that's the end. So now if I go back to the show view, and I'll just spacebar through these real fast, you can look up in the corner and see there's 2 lines. There's all the words, no single words all alone. So that looks a lot better. And Worthy of It All has a green macro. So all the rest of these songs are correct. So then the other thing I like to do right away, after I've proofed all these, is I right click on this playlist and I go export. And I go to that same exact folder. I go to OneDrive, ProPresenter Sharing. That's not sorted alphabetically. There it is. ProPresenter Sharing, lyrics, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do January 28 songs dash checked or proofed, and I'm going to save it. So now Charles can go back and open the one I fixed and replace his existing song with the fixed one. So we're very meticulously going through the library and trying to look out for any of the songs that have some kind of weird note at the end of the file name. So some of the songs might have a -1 because we accidentally made a duplicate of the song. Some of the oldest songs have a L/T after the file name, which means lower thirds. So for a while we were creating both a full screen and a lower thirds format of the same song, so we'd have duplicate copies. And then other times we just add random notes like hymn version or something to the end of the song. So we're trying to really reduce the number of times we do copies of a song and use arrangements much more effectively. The only time where you really need 2 different versions of the song is if the lyrics are really, really different, or if it's really a different version of the song. Like, for instance, there's Amazing Grace and Amazing Grace, My Chains Are Gone. They're very similar, but there's 2 things different. One is there's extra stanzas in Amazing Grace, My Chains Are Gone. And technically the name of the song is different. And in addition, the copyright and byline are different because Chris Tomlin went in and did that version of the song. So the credits and the byline are different. So you need to make 2 versions of a song in a case like that. Now that we've imported those all into here, if they were already in the order of worship, they should have automatically imported. And then we just need to double check these arrangements. So I figured out a little trick. If I click the song here in the playlist and get to the right spot in the playlist here. So I Will Sing of the Mercies is there. I Will Sing of the Mercies is there. And then what you can do is if you just click the playlist name but don't click any of these slides, I'm still editing the service. So what I want to do is I want to double check that this arrangement name in the square brackets is exactly the same as the arrangement name over here. And you can see that it is not, in fact, the same. So we're going to click the little thing here. And you can see that for some reason there are two versions of this I Will Sing of the Mercies, but with different arrangement names. So I'm going to click unlink to remove the song. And I'm going to click search again. Make sure you're on ProPresenter, not on Song Select. And there it is. I Will Sing of the Mercies of the Lord, PNW-52 is there, which matches that. So I'm going to click this and click link. So now the song is in there, but even though it showed the arrangement in the search, it didn't pick it. So I click this, pick the arrangement, and then close the arrangement manager. So that song is correct. In Christ Alone is also incorrect. So we're going to check the arrangements. Sometimes the reason why the arrangement is wrong is because it just didn't update this screen. So more often than not, I unlink all the songs until I get the finals from Charles. Link, arrangement, change arrangement to the same one. So 2020 verse 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to go ahead and finish these all, and I'll cut that part out of the video, and then I'll show you what we need to do in the 11:15. So now we're proofing the praise service, the 11:15 service, and you can see again, this says My Testimony Praise Charts. This says My Testimony Default. So click the name, click unlink, then click search again, pick My Testimony, link, and then click the arrangement manager and choose default. So that's the same name. The other thing to look for is every once in a while, remember I said before, there's a weird name appended to the file name. So My Testimony -1, for instance, you have to make sure that that is exactly the same too. All right, here's an example of a wrong match. So I'm trying to be really diligent about this. So you can see it says Fill My Cup, Lord, parentheses, LTS. So that's when we used to do lower thirds as a separate document. But if you look in what he sent me, it just says Fill My Cup without LTS. So we got to do two things. One is I'm going to click unlink, and then I'm going to go up here to the library. I'm going to search for Fill My Cup. And I am going to permanently, forever delete this duplicate copy. So right click, delete, and yes, I'm sure I want to delete it. And then I can go back if you just click the clear button here, and then go back to this search here, Fill My Cup. There should only be one result. Every once in a while, I find the library doesn't update right away. So you might have to go back and quit and come back. And then the only other thing that sometimes has happened is because I have this Spanish blended song version in here, sometimes it'll pick one of those on accident. But most of the songs in the Spanish blended song bank have something bilingual in the name mentioning that it's the bilingual version. So it'll be super obvious in this screen that the bilingual one is the one you're looking at. So you just have to continue to proof all the songs. So there's Battle Belongs, Praise Charts. So you see Honey in the Rock, it didn't rematch. So that actually lets me show you something I didn't show you yet. So we know we have Honey in the Rock, but we didn't add it. So this should be the first thing you do, but you got to be a little careful about it. So this little swirly means something is different in this from what it's seeing on Planning Center. And you can click it. But every once in a while, it will break something you already fixed. So this is why it's important to do this early enough to have time to double check it. So I'm going to go ahead and click the update button, and it updates the order of worship, but it still didn't find Honey in the Rock. So now I still have to click search, click Honey in the Rock, click link, click the arrangement manager, and pick the matching arrangement name. And again, we go over here to January 28, and you can see Brooke Ligertwood is the arrangement name. And then Battle Belongs needs to be checked. Battle Belongs is Praise Charts. And then the very, very end is Worthy of It All, says CC Winans, and this does not say CC Winans. This says Praise Charts. So what we're going to do is we're going to click the name again, unlink, click search, click worthy of it all, click link, click the arrangement manager, and click CC Winans. So now that's all correct, and we just need to close this. Now here's the other problem with doing the update. Let's see if it did it. Sometimes when you use that update button, the non-song items will break their arrangements. So like for instance, this Mission Vision Spiritual Growth card, that one doesn't have arrangements, but this welcome and greeting might have gotten disconnected by doing the update. So we're going to have to click search for welcome and greeting, click opening prayer, greeting, etc., and then click the arrangement manager. And I know the opening greeting at this hour is going to be Vicky, so I'm going to change it to Vicky. This is where it's helpful to have a printed copy of Playing Center, even if you open it up in Chrome on the computer, just because you can see them at the same time. And then you just need to continue to check every element. Look for the telltale thumbnail being incorrect. It's like these. See, these two things still have the wrong thumbnail, so that means they on Planning Center, this item exists, but it doesn't exist in the library yet, or it's not found. But the rest of these all are set up, and then you got to check both hours for the same thing. So again, there's the offertory for the Joy Ringers is not there, but I do know that that document exists. So I'm going to click search, Joy Ringers, link, and then pick the arrangement, and this is the offertory, and then we just need to get the title of this song from Mindy. So I'm just gonna dash out the title for right now, and then also this byline I'm sure is incorrect, so we'll just delete that byline for right now and then close it. So at least this is a placeholder and it's ready to go when we have the song title. Just because people like to know the name of the song, and also it's good for the copyright stuff to show the byline and the copyright information. So that is probably what turned out to be a rather lengthy video about how we handle song lyrics here and reconcile them between what the worship leader has sent us and what's in our copy of ProPresenter.